Hey there, Pastor Clark here with Coffee Creek Church. Thanks so much for joining us today. We are going to continue on in our series that we began last week called Stop the Scroll. And this is a short 2-week series about the Sabbath and about Sabbath rest. And if you'll recall last week, and if you didn't catch it, you can always catch up on our YouTube channel or on our podcast, available everywhere that podcasts are. You can even just ask Alexa to play that for you. But we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all those good places. But last week, we kind of arrived at this idea that Sabbath is not just a reward, right? It's not just a reward for working really hard. It is actually more of a sitting back in the satisfaction and the relaxation of all those good and beautiful things that God has created. So last week, that's kind of where we stopped. And today, what we're going to look at is this idea that it's kind of the secondary part of Sabbath, and that is, what is the outcome of Sabbath? Like, what is the end goal of Sabbath? And there are several. I don't want to propose that this is just the only one, but this one's really important. And this is delight. And this is where rest really takes a different aspect for you. And where Sabbath all of a sudden goes from like, oh, a checkbox or a to-do list, I have to do this, or God's going to be upset with me. It's really nothing like that. It's actually something that can create such intense feelings of joy and happiness and satisfaction and just rest like you've never experienced before. And that's what I want for you, and that's what I hope to help you with through today's teaching. So without any further ado, I want to jump into it. So if you've ever traveled with kids, like on vacation or a road trip, oh my word, you know what I'm about to talk about, how hectic it is. And I don't know if you're like me, but have you ever got back from vacation and said, I need a vacation to recover from this vacation? I mean, sometimes I look around and go, is this my vacation? Is this mine too? Because it's like, I'm spending all this money. I'm doing a lot of things I don't want to do. I'm at a theme park, or there's some character yelling at me, or someone's trying to get me to buy another picture for $50. And most of us know how to rest our bodies. We know, okay, if I'm hitting my point of exhaustion, I've got to take a nap. I've got to rest. I've got to sleep. I've got to get in the bed. But few of us know how to restore, refresh, and rest our souls. And so we unplug from work. We unplug from situations. We unplug from physical environments. We unplug from our state, our city. We go away. But do we really know how to unplug from our worries? And so last week, we kind of hit on this idea, like I said, that Sabbath resists hurry. Sabbath is kind of a way to subvert worry in our life. It's a way to resist worry. This week, we're going to learn that Sabbath has a secondary vision, and that it restores our joy. It gives us back something that God intended for us to have for a long time. Maybe something you haven't seen since you were a child. And that's something really unique to children, right? This kind of childlike joy. And so this week, we're going to look at this idea that Sabbath helps us resist, and it helps us to restore. And that joy to be restored is something that's really very valuable. So let's start to look at this idea. When you delight in God, you rediscover the joy you were made for. Now, a lot of us go after happiness. And this word eudaimonia is kind of this concept from the Greeks of sometimes translated as happiness, but not really accurately, probably more like flourishing, thriving, that fullness or completeness of life you're really looking for. And so this ancient Greek term really dives at the heart of, like, what does it mean to flourish? What does it mean to live in a state of like meaningful, purposeful life where you are virtuous and you are filled with just like purpose and happiness? So it is happiness, but it's a little bit further than our own happiness, right? We have kind of McDonaldized happiness so much we call it a happy meal even. It's like, not really happy, not happy later from it. So our souls are not made for just a cycle of production and consumption. And we pointed that out last week. But they're made for joyful connection with God. Like, you were designed for joyful connection with God, with others. That's what community is all about. and with God's creation. That's why I mentioned last week that walking in nature can be such a powerful thing, and is for me. Now, if you look at your phone, that thing that sits in your pocket, maybe buzzing right now, we tend to scroll on these devices in an endless scavenger hunt for something to make us feel happy, joy, delight. And we scroll and scroll and scroll, and we get little hits here and there, but it's just not lasting. It's the kind of cheap happiness, the McDonaldization of happiness. It's not this word, eudaimonia. It's not virtue. It's not meaningful happiness. It's not flourishing. It is a very short-lived, flash in the pan kind of thing that goes away just as quickly as it came. But connection, for the kind of the God-shaped hole that's in all of us, real connection with Jesus, where the scroll stops, is something that Jesus has taught us about. Because think about this. The thief's purpose, Jesus says in John 10:10, the thief's purpose is to steal and kill and destroy. My purpose, Jesus says, his purpose is to give them a rich and satisfying life. Literally, the scrolling, whether that's on your device or it's on your TV or whatever, newspaper, book, whatever you choose to just constantly scroll, trying to get a hit of happiness, is literally robbing you. It is stealing. It is killing you. It is destroying your happiness. It is death and destruction, because it is cyclical and it has no end. But Jesus says he's come to bring you something much different, a rich and satisfying life. Think about that contrast of what Jesus sets up here. The thief, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Now, he can't take away what God has given you, but he can seek to steal. He can seek to kill your happiness. He can seek to destroy your life. But Jesus says, I don't want that for you. I want you to have a rich and satisfying life. And that begins with Sabbath rest, with laying down the relentless scrolling, laying down the relentless pursuit of success, celebrity, virality, laying down busyness, putting them all at the altar and saying, God, I know you have more in store for me. Now, today we're going to read from a rather long part of Scripture here, because I want you to hear several things. I think Isaiah 58, I actually posted it to my Facebook account recently, the entire chapter, because I'm like, man, this is just so good. As I was studying this, I'm like, I want to share this with as many people. And I got like 2 likes on it, right? Because people aren't going to sit there and read a whole chapter of Scripture on Facebook. It's not what it's made for. I get that. But I was just like, man, this is so rich. I want more people to see this. So Isaiah 58, and I'm going to read from the New Living Translation for you. But if you have your own version, go ahead and pull that out. And we're just going to start at verse 1 and read all the way through this chapter. And I want you to listen for kind of the commentary on their culture, which echoes commentary on our culture. And I want you to listen for the solution that is like right at the end of this thing. Okay, here we go. Shout with a voice of a trumpet blast. Shout aloud. Don't be timid. Tell my people Israel of their sins. Yet they act so pious. They come to the temple every day and seem delighted to learn all about me. They act like a righteous nation that would never abandon the laws of its God. They ask me to take action on their behalf, pretending they want to be near me. We've fasted before you, they say. Why aren't you impressed? We have been very hard on ourselves, and you don't even notice it. I will tell you why, I respond. It's because you are fasting to please yourselves. Even while you fast, you keep oppressing your workers. What good is fasting when you keep on fighting and quarreling? This kind of fasting will never get you anywhere with me. You humble yourselves, verse 5, by going through the motions of penance, bowing your heads like reeds bending in the wind. You dress in burlap and cover yourselves with ashes. Is this what you call fasting? Do you really think this will please the Lord? No. This is the kind of fasting I want. Now listen to what the Lord is saying here in Isaiah 58. This is what he wants, right? So this is what they've been giving him, he set up, but this is what he wants. Free those who are wrongly imprisoned. Lighten the burden of those who work for you. Let the oppressed go free and remove the chains that bind people. Share your food with the hungry and give shelter to the homeless. Give clothes to those who need them, and do not hide from relatives who need your help. Then your salvation will come like the dawn, and your wounds will quickly heal. Your godliness will lead you forward, and the glory of the Lord will protect you from behind. And then, when you call, the Lord will answer. Yes, I am here, he will quickly reply. Continues in the second half of verse 9. Check this out. More instructions for them. Remove the heavy yoke of oppression. Stop pointing your finger and spreading vicious rumors. Feed the hungry and help those in trouble. Then your light will shine out from the darkness, and the darkness around you will be as bright as noon. The Lord will guide you continually, giving you water when you are dry and restoring your strength. You will be like a well-watered garden, like an ever-flowing spring. Some of you will rebuild the deserted ruins of your cities, and then you will be known as a rebuilder of walls and a restorer of homes. Keep the Sabbath day holy. Don't pursue your own interests on that day, but enjoy the Sabbath and speak of it with delight as the Lord's holy day. Honor the Sabbath in everything you do on that day, and don't follow your own desires or talk idly. Then the Lord will be your delight. I will give you great honor and satisfy you with the inheritance I promised to your ancestor Jacob. I, the Lord, have spoken. Man, I mean, there's so much there that we could go into, right? We don't have time to do all of it, but I am going to focus in on that last part because that is most relevant to our teaching here on Sabbath. But the Hebrew word oneg there is what is being translated as like delight or pleasure or joy. And so what we see here is that Sabbath is not just a break. It's not just a rest like any other day off. It's not just weekend, right? It's not just a day off from work. It is a taste of heaven. It is a literal taste of heaven for you to kind of get a glimpse. I think I said thumbnail last week. It's like this little picture of what is to come. Think back to Genesis last week when I was teaching. God himself rested and delighted in his creation. So we too are invited to rest and delight, to have joy in his creation. Now remember, one of the most important things I taught last week was that God didn't rest because he was tired. God rested because he was pleased. Psalm 16:11 kind of reiterates this idea of joy. It says, you will show me the way of life, granting me the joy of your presence and the pleasures of living with you forever. We find joy in the presence of God. Sabbath helps us to kind of remove some of those distractions that so commonly take us out of the presence of the Lord and gives us a chance to meditate, focus, be quiet, listen, enjoy life and the simple things that God has given us. And so when you delight in God, you rediscover the joy you were created for. And that's why it feels good to rest in that way. Because all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is like the sweet spot of life. This is why I can look forward to this day. It's recentering me, repurposing me, showing me the way back to the joy I was designed and created for. G.K. Chesterton, an author, he said this. He said, joy is the gigantic secret of the Christian. That joy is at the heart of everything that we do. It is core to the Christian experience. And if it's absent, then man, that is your litmus test that something is not right. If this fruit is not coming out of someone's life, joy is not the number one thing coming out, love, peace, understanding, self-control, then they are not following the way of Jesus, man. They can know the truth all they want. They can quote you Bible forward and backward. They can tell you things about history and they can show you things in the Bible and tell you things. But if they don't have this coming out of their life, they're not following Jesus. I mean, even the devil knows a lot of facts about God. He knows the truth. He doesn't care about the truth, but he knows the truth about God. The demons are all well versed in the Bible, more than most believers and followers of Christ. They just don't agree with it. They know it. They can quote it to you. And so here you have a real key indicator that this is like your check engine light for your spiritual growth and development. If joy is not coming out for you, man, it's time to reevaluate. And Sabbath may be that kind of, tune-up you need. It may be the opportunity to take a break, to settle down, to ask God to examine you, to help you find your joy again, because that's really what can come from that experience. In his book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, a great book, John Mark Comer says this. He says, love, joy, and peace are at the heart of all Jesus is trying to grow in the soil of your life. And all three are incompatible with hurry. God wants love, joy, and peace to emanate from your life. That without a word, people would know who you follow because you treat people differently. You act differently towards people. You talk differently towards people. Your income goes towards different things than regular folks. Love, joy, and peace cause all of those things to happen. And so this is great opportunity for us to see we have to slow down. We have to take a break because those things don't come when we're running at 100 miles an hour. They just don't. When we're pursuing success, when we're pursuing virality, when we're pursuing celebrity, when we're pursuing money, none of those things come naturally. So let's practice a quick Sabbath right now for 60 seconds. Just take a break. If you've got something else going on, phone, put it down. Just take 60 seconds of no talking, no scrolling. Just breathe for a minute. Just pray. Just be quiet. Just delight in the beauty of what God has done in your life already and what you're trusting Him to do in the future. It will be difficult to do this, but I encourage you, take 60 seconds with me and just rest. Breathe in. Breathe out. All right, we're halfway there. 30 more seconds. How uncomfortable is that? It's pretty uncomfortable, isn't it? Some people switch the podcast off or the video off because they were like, it looks like it's broken. Looks like it's stuck. We're just used to constant noise. What would it be like to do a reset every week, every 7 days? You're resetting. 52 times a year, you are resetting because you realize how easy it is. And you know yourself. You know you get off track. You know that you're not pursuing joy sometimes. What would it be like instead of a yearly practice where we try to, Christmas, I think, is a lot that for us. We try to reset ourselves into childlike wonder and joy. What if you had that every single week? What if it was Christmas-like reset every single week? You're like, I don't got time for all that. And that's what Sabbath is supposed to teach us. Yeah, you do. You do. You've got 24 hours every week where you could just rest. What do you fill your mind with in those times, though, right? Because that was a little weird. And it's a little odd, and you're like, your mind's probably darting around. So the scriptures indicate this. I think this is great. Paul teaches in Philippians 4:8, fill your minds with beauty and truth. Meditate on whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is good, whatever is virtuous and praiseworthy. So I think it's valuable to clear our minds. But man, when you feel that stuff creeping in, this is not passive. You don't have to just sit there and let it all creep in. Fill your mind. Take action. This is not weakness. This takes work. This is harder than what most people do. This is not the default. This is the opposite of just sitting there empty-minded, being consumed by the fear of what people are saying on TV and social media, what the government, what politics, what pundits are saying. No. Sabbath allows us to fill our schedule with things that are beautiful, like meals and jokes and singing and laughter, good food and games and sports and relaxation and just hanging out with one another and praying for one another and reading the scriptures together and just breathing. Fill your mind, but don't fill it with what the world wants. Fill it with something that's far more contagious, joy. Because when you delight in God, you actually create space to bring joy to others as well. So fill your minds. That takes action. That's not passive. It takes work. It does. It's a practice. And it takes a lot of practice. And here you got 52 chances a year to practice this. Meditate is an action. Meditate is something you do. And these will lead to positive results. And so the practice I want to give you this week is to, last week we said it was stop and rest. And this week's practice is to take time to delight in God. I want to focus in on that keyword of delight. The good and beautiful God has placed you here at this time in history, in this place, in this geography. And so enjoy life. It's too brief to do anything else. How can you do it? Well, we learned recently on our Sabbath workshop that, you can do things like make pancakes, have a dance party, play some of your favorite music, get coffee with your best friend. You can take a walk. I love that. Take a nap. That's not terrible either. Eat delicious food. Watch the sunset or watch the sunrise. Two of the most beautiful things you can do in Oklahoma. We have such beautiful sunrises and sunsets. You can make a fire. This is great. Fall's a great time for that. Maybe you just call or text a friend or family member who lives afar away and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you. I love you. But if you don't plan for delight, if you just magically wish that it will happen, it's not going to happen. You have to plan for delight because distraction will rob you blind. It will destroy your happiness. It will steal from you. It will kill your happiness. Distraction wants to rule your Sabbath. So you have to guard it proactively and plan for delight. So here's your challenge. I like to give you a challenge every week, right? Here's your challenge for this week. Enjoy the life that God gives you. Give him the glory for it. Thank him for it. Have gratitude, express gratitude. We're getting ready to talk about that in our next series. But just enjoy life. Maybe you pray a simple prayer like, God, thank you for this day. Thank you for this meal. Thank you for these people. Thank you for this church family. Thank you for this breath I have flowing right now. Thank you for this life. And maybe that's enough for your first Sabbath to just reset. I love what it said there near the end of Isaiah 58. Keep the Sabbath day holy. Don't pursue your own interests on that day, but enjoy the Sabbath and speak of it with delight as the Lord's holy day. Remember, God is not recovering from fatigue in this vision. God didn't get tired. He stopped for Sabbath to enjoy that day, to enjoy what he had done. And he invites you to do the same thing, to delight in what he has done. Because when you delight in God, you rediscover the joy you were created for. I think this is beautiful. I think you can accept his rest. I think you can accept the freedom that Jesus has created you for and has envisioned for you and purchased for you on the cross. And he was resurrected. And now, the scripture said last week, he rests and God rests. And they have prepared a place for you to go for eternal rest as well. But right now, you can get a picture of that every single week. Every single Sabbath, you can delight and experience the joy God has for you. And I hope you will take that challenge on this week. Next Sunday, we start a new series, Thanks in All Things. This is a 4-week series in November. I typically do a series like this every November, something similar to talking about gratitude or thankfulness or how we can express that. And so this is going to be an opportunity for us to find strength in the Lord, to practice gratitude, to embrace some of the sad things we may have in our life, what the scriptures call lament, and find support, even here at Coffee Creek Church, to endure whatever life throws at us and to understand how joy is tied into all that. And it really is. And so I hope that you will join me for that series next Sunday, same time, same place. Until then, God bless you, and we'll see you soon.